I had to rip back 11 centimeters of ribbing and it was not fun. Hi and welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French knitter and today is episode 17 of my knitting podcast. And if you're not subscribed already but you like my content, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and the like button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any future content. So as a reminder, I'm going to talk to you about one finished object, some couple of whips I've been working on over the past 2 weeks, and this week I don't have any acquisitions and I've just filmed my spring knitting plan, so I don't really feel like there's a point to me talking about future plans. So we're just going to stick to finished objects and some whips. But before we dive into that, let me just share what I'm wearing, which is a hand knit that I finished late last year. This is the Friday Slipover by PetiteKnit, which is a broken rib top-down vest that is really nice to work on. There was a whole thing about me casting it on in too small needles and too small of a size, and I frogged it all back and reknit it again whilst I was in Japan on holidays. And this is what came out of it, and I'm really happy with it. This is actually, I think, only the second time I'm wearing it because, you know, in the winter it's just too cold to just wear a sleepover. But it's a beautiful day today. It's like 20 degrees. You know, spring is here. Spring is coming. We're happy about it. And it feels like such a lovely day to wear a sleepover vest, even though this one is knit with Mohair. And I'll tell you what yarn I used just after that. But even though it's knit with Mohair, it's just still feels really nice and light to wear for now. I really enjoy it, and I knitted it in knitting for olive merino and soft silk mohair in the colorway Marzipan, which I don't think is my color necessarily, but we're just gonna pretend that it is. Anyways, I've been sick all week, so you can probably still hear that I'm a little bit sick. I apologize. I am gonna cut off any cough or any blowing out my nose for you. But yeah, I am feeling still a little bit under the weather, but we're gonna power through because I've got quite a bit to catch you up on. Oh, and my nose is probably going to be redder and redder as the podcast goes on. But I've got an exciting finished object, which was not supposed to be a finished object. And I did not think I would get it to this point by today. But I'm really happy I am, and it's not blocked, but all the knitting is done, so it's not like a finished object. I'll be sharing it with you next podcast once it's blocked, but I want to share with you my Charlie pullover. Look, she's done and she's stunning. I'm so excited about this. Okay, let me share a little bit about what happened though, because I had to rip back 11 centimeters of ribbing and it was not fun. So I'm not going to talk about the first part of the construction in this podcast because I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, but I had finished the yoke by last podcast, and I think I had, I still have my stitch marker here. So I had started knitting on the body a little bit. I did have a week off of work on holidays, so I managed to continue knitting on the body, and I came to a point which I think was, that's going to be a bit hard to show, but I think it was like 5 centimeters below the stitch marker. And I was starting to panic that I was not going to have enough yarn, because the yarn that I'm using isn't really meant for this project. So this is supposed to be knit in fingering and mohair, and I use a sport weight and a mohair. So I used Ulysse by the Rerum Natura in the colorway Amarante, which is 100% wool sport weight yarn, which is absolutely stunning to work with. And I paired it with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the colorway Bordeaux, which is 70% mohair, 30% silk. And this is how much I have left. So that's about how much I have left of the sport weight yarn, and this is how much I have left of the mohair. So I'll have to check the meterage or like the grams, but I think that's like maybe 10 grams of this, maybe 5-10 grams of this. So not a whole lot, but I'm really happy that I managed to almost use all of the yarn. Obviously I do have still this, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. We'll see, we'll figure something out. I love this color. But yeah, so I started to panic that I wouldn't have enough yarn, so I decided to stop knitting on the body. But I had started doing the ribbing, so I did like 2 rounds of the ribbing on the body, and then I started doing one sleeve. That went perfectly well. I love the detail around the sleeve here. I love how that looks, and it's the same in the back with the increases. I think that just looks really, really pretty and polished. And it's a saddle shoulder construction, so you have those like 15 stitches of the shoulder that just continuously goes onto the sleeve, which I think is just really pretty. And you do have 11 centimeters of ribbing on the sleeves as well. They're quite boxy wide sleeves, which I love. I ended up doing 2 fewer decreases than what I was meant to do. My row gauge was a bit off, but I don't mind having less decreases, so it does look a little bit, I guess, bigger on me. I think overall I have more positives than I am supposed to have, but I'll let you guys know in the next podcast once I block it and everything. I'll try to remember, because I always forget, I'll try to remember to include and to mention how much positives I have instead of what I was supposed to have and everything. But I knit one sleeve, went well. I knit the other sleeve, went well. And then I tried it on again, and no, before I knitted the second sleeve, I picked back up the ribbing because I wasn't in the mood to pick up the stitches for the second sleeve. So I was like, I'm just going to do a little bit of mindless knitting. So I had knitted at least 7 centimeters of ribbing by that point. So when I finished the second sleeve and I tried it on, I was like, ooh, I think the body is shorter. The stockinette in the body is shorter than what it's supposed to be. And by that I mean I knew I hadn't followed the instructions in the pattern. I had shortened the stockinette body before starting the ribbing because I thought I wanted a cropped look. But the stockinette part under the body turned out to be about the same number of centimeters as the ribbing. It was about 10 centimeters, even shorter. And so it just looked unbalanced and I didn't love it. But I had already knitted 7 centimeters of ribbing by that point, so I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. So I continued knitting on the ribbing, and then when I came to about 10 centimeters, I was like, no, it just doesn't look right. I'll put in a picture of me trying it on before I ripped it all back. But it just looked unbalanced and I wasn't feeling it, and I thought it is going to take me 5 more days to finish this project, but I would just rather have a finished object that I enjoy, you know, and that fits me and that looks good. So I ripped it all back and I added at least 5 centimeters, I think, of stockinette before doing the ribbing, and I think it just looks much better. And I ended up having the recommended length in the body. She tells you to count the centimeters from the back edge of the neck all the way down to the body, and I ended up having the amount of centimeters that I was supposed to have before starting the ribbing, so I should have just listened to the designer, and I didn't. But yeah, and then I added back the 11 centimeters of ribbing, which did take me about 5 days to complete. But now it's done and it's lovely, and I wanted to show it to you before I block it and wear it. As I said, it's 20 degrees today, so I don't know how much wear I'm going to get out of this, unfortunately. I know there's going to be a few cold days still, but I'm hoping to get a few wears out of it soon because it is stunning. I love it. I love the color. I love the design. I love the saddle shoulders. I'm excited to see it post-block because I think I would have liked, or I would like, just a little bit more centimeters in the sleeves lengthwise. I'm hoping that because the sweater is going to relax and, you know, the saddle shoulder are going to drop a tiny bit, hopefully I'll gain like 2 centimeters in the sleeve, which is what I would want. I think it's a stunning piece of work. I will say, however, if I didn't have that week off of work, and then after that I had a week off of work because I was sick, I would not have been able to finish this by today. So if this seems like I've done a lot in the past 2 weeks, it's just because I've not been actually working, so that's why. But also I was sick, so I didn't knit that much this week. We'll talk more about the price and everything in the next podcast once it's all blocked and done, and we can go through, you know, the stats. But I'm so excited for it to be done, and yeah, I think I'm really going to enjoy this one. The first whip I want to share with you is one you've seen before and one I need your advice on. So I'm knitting the Zipper Sweater Light Man by PetiteKnit for my partner. I'm using the Rerum Natura Gilliatt in the colorway Merlot. So maybe I can show you the difference. I've shown it before, but this is Ulysse by the Rerum Natura in the colorway Amarante, and this one is Merlot, and you can see this one is very clearly darker than the Amarante. I really like this one. I also really enjoy this color. I'm really excited for my partner to have this. We'll be able to match a little bit, and I'll definitely be stealing this sweater from him. But anyways, Gilliatt is 100% wool, and it is, I think, worsted weight. It's 100 grams for 250 meters. And it is absolutely stunning. I love this yarn. Just feels amazing to work with. The stitch definition is incredible. I am definitely going to use this for a sweater of mine one day, or a cardigan. Yeah, I really enjoy this. But anyways, I want to share with you my progress. So this is, hopefully you're going to be able to see, this is a Zipper Sweater Light Man. Just briefly, I'll mention it. I'm not using a DK weight yarn as I'm supposed to because my gauge is really tight, and so I decided to choose a different yarn, and I swatched for the Zipper Sweater Light Man and the Zipper Sweater Man, and decided based on my swatch which gauge I wanted to have, and my gauge fit the Zipper Sweater Light Man, and it was looking great. Like the stitch definition and the density of the fabric was exactly what I wanted, so that's the pattern I went for. But that's not the yarn you're supposed to use for that pattern. But yeah, so I think ignore the yarns that I'm using for the stitches that hold. I think I've got the stitch marker here for where I had left you off at the last time, and this is how much I've knitted since. So I want to say about 8 centimeters, and I've split the sleeves, and I've done, yeah, about 4 centimeters on the body, which is pretty good going considering I haven't actually picked it up that much. But it's just, first of all, it's so nice to have a stockinette thing to work on when I've not got the brain space to work on something involved, or if I've just got, you know, 10 minutes and I just want to grab something quick to knit on. Just this stockinette is perfect. I'm excited to be on the body, and I think once I've finished with this skein, I'm just gonna start a sleeve, but I would also really like to do the zipper quite soon. So you're supposed to, can you see here? You're supposed to add in a zipper here. I mean, you probably know that. It is something that is quite scary, but I'm gonna attempt that. But I wanted to buy one of PetiteKnit's zipper because I really like the look of them, and my partner does as well. Or, you know, maybe not the PetiteKnit ones, but one that is similar. And on her website, she only has a few colors, and none of them are in this burgundy color. And even online, I couldn't really find one that was the look I wanted and the color that I needed. So just, if you could let me know in the comments if you think I could use a black zipper, or, like, you know, it's gonna have a black backing, I guess you would call it. If you think that would look fine, or if you think I really need to find a burgundy one, because I don't know how I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I'm hoping that by next podcast I find a zipper that I want. I probably won't have time to actually put it in, but I would like to do that before I finish the whole thing, because I think doing the zipper at the end of the project is going to be, I'm just going to put this aside for a month and not do it. So I would rather do it as early as possible. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what much else I can say. I linked some b-roll of my partner trying it on for you guys, and I tried it on as well, and I'm excited to have this be done too, but it's not going to be my priority over the next few weeks, so we'll see how much I actually get done. So I've put the stitch marker about where I'm at. If by next podcast I don't have anything exciting to share with you about this project, even if I work on it a little bit, I might not show it to you, because I feel like it's just stuck in at this point. If I don't finish, one sleeve or the body, there's not much point to talking about this. But yeah, so far it's a lovely pattern to work on, and I've not had any trouble. The sizing for now is perfect, so great pattern. Next up, we have an exciting new cast on, but before you guys get your hopes up, there's not a lot to show you. Or maybe actually before I show you, I'm not going to share with you, I've got some socks on the needles, but I've not worked on them, so I'm not going to share them with you. Do I have anything else on at the moment? I don't think so. But yeah, if I haven't worked on something, I'm not going to share it with you, but it doesn't mean that it's on the back burner. It just means I'm hoping to pick it back up soon, but I really hyper focused on my Charlie Pullover those past 2 weeks, so yeah. The product that I've cast on, I'm using Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair and Merino in the colorway Red Currant, which are really stunning red. I love this. I will just say the Knitting for Olive in this color does have a white strand through it, so if you don't enjoy that, maybe don't buy this mohair. But the merino is 100% extra fine merino. It's a fingering weight yarn, which is lovely to work with. I really enjoy it, and the mohair is the same as the one I've mentioned previously. So yeah, so I've cast this on, but there's not a lot going on yet, but I have casted on the Agnete Cardigan by PetiteKnit, which is really exciting. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of knitting on it in the next 2 weeks because I've got a test knit, but I'm hoping to have a bit more to show you next time than what I have now, which is going to look a little bit messy because I do have some stitches on hold, but let me untangle all of this. I've started the button band. Yay! It's not focusing. There we go. So you do start by knitting the back neck in double knitting, and I've just picked up stitches to start the brioche, but I've not actually started the brioche. So not very exciting, but I mean still pretty exciting for me. The double knitting obviously does take a while. I think it took me 3 or 4 hours to do, so, and it takes a while, but it looks really pretty, and I'm excited to see the rest of the construction, because I've never done a button band as you go, so I'm excited to see how that ends up looking. Hopefully good. I'm using 3.5mm needles instead of 3mm needles, and I think I'm doing size medium in the pattern instead of size small, which is sort of what I should do, but because my gauge is a little bit tighter, I'm hoping that by going up a size medium, I'm gonna end up with a size around the small size medium, if that makes sense. So yeah, not a whole lot to catch you up on for this one, but I have cast this on and it is on the needles, and hopefully I'll be working on it over the next couple of weeks. I'm excited about the color, very excited. But this week and next week I'm gonna be focusing on a test knit that I've got going on. So I've mentioned it in my spring knitting plans video, which I posted last week, so if you've not watched that, highly recommend you look at that if you want some spring knitting inspirations. Although I say spring, but it doesn't have a lot of spring knits really, but if you're looking for some inspirations, maybe you can find some there. But I'm test knitting the Mia hood by Tox Knits, which is a brioche hood, one of those really famous ones. I've knitted the Sophie hood at the beginning of the year, but I love brioche. I just love brioche, and I saw that one, I was like, I wanted to. So I'm gonna end up with 2 hoods in my wardrobe, but that way maybe I can let you know the difference in the construction and everything of those 2, and hopefully that's interesting for you guys. But this is a test knit that is sponsored, so I have received yarn for free. I'm using Onling for the first time, which is really exciting. So I'm using Onling number 3, which is their DK weight worsted weight yarn, which is 100% fine organic merino wool. And this one is in the colorway 117. I think it's got a name as well, maybe just navy. It's a really beautiful deep navy blue, which I'm holding with their number 10 silk mohair in the same colorway, I think. Oh no, it's 0469, and it's 70% super kid mohair and 30% silk. So I will say does feel a little bit more fluffy than other mohair I've used. Feels really soft, really nice. It does feel a bit different than, for example, the Knitting 4-leaf mohair. Don't know if you're going to be able to see, but this one feels more fluffy, more, yeah, it's got more fluff. I love both, but I mean, obviously I haven't worn this one yet, so I can't speak to it at the moment, but I think they feel just as nice, and I'm excited to see how it feels against my neck, because this one is going to be a scarf, so I've never done a knitted scarf before held or like with mohair in it, so I'm excited to see how it feels. But these yarns feel lovely. I really enjoy working with them so far, and I'll share with you my progress. So the construction of this one is definitely different than the Sophie hood, and it's got a lot of ends to weave in, which is a bit frustrating. I've left them all to show you everything. I mean, it's not a ton, but it's like 5 ends to weave in for just this amount of knitting. Basically, you start off with this panel here in the middle, and then you pick up stitches around the side, and you put those stitches that were on hold back on your needles, and then you pick up stitches here, and then you start knitting kind of in a half circle. And it's a brioche, so it's really squishy, really lovely. I love this. I've still got quite a bit to go on this side. I think it's got to reach about this maybe before I can start the scarf part of the hood, but I think after that the hood will be finished, so I think I will wear it something like that. Wait. So I mean, obviously I've still got quite a bit of knitting to do on that, but so far it's really lovely. I love brioche. I just love brioche here. I think you guys are going to see a lot more brioche in the future. I will say brioche definitely feels like it takes a while to see progress on it, kind of like double knitting. And I'm knitting this one on 4.5 millimeter. The pattern is meant to be knit on 4 millimeter, but I gauge swatched and I rich gauge on 4.5. But for the Agnete Cardigan, it's also brioche, and it's knit on 3.5 millimeter needles for me, but 3 millimeter for other people. And I think that one is definitely going to take a while to be done, but I am very excited about this. Yeah, and I just think it's stunning, and I'm excited about, yeah, to see how the construction ends up, because I've never knit a hood like this, or you know, beanie or something. So yeah. Oh, and I've got my stitch marker here just to know which one is the right side from the wrong side, although now I guess with my ends I can probably figure that out. But yeah, the deadline of the test knit is quite short, so if you're interested in this one, it's going to be out fairly soon, in about well, by the time you watch this video, in about a couple of days. So I'll try to remember to post the link in my description about this pattern. If I don't, it'll be in the next podcast, or you can just check out PetiteKnit's channel. She does have a YouTube podcast as well. So I guess this was an acquisition too, a gifted one, but that's the only one I had this week. I think I'm gonna have leftover yarns, and I think I already know what I want to use the mohair for. So sometime this year, but we'll talk about that when I actually finish the project and know how much yarn I have left. So I think that's it for this week. Quite a quick update. I hope you guys don't mind. I will say also this month we're doing Make It Work March Cal. So it's a cal I'm running alongside Florence from Florence Miller, and during this month we're trying to encourage you and ourselves to fix our knits to make them work for you. So there's going to be a little bit less knitting this month for me because I'm going to focus during the weekends on some knits that I want to make work. So I'm going to be filming that as well, and I don't think I'm going to share those elements in the podcast yet. I don't know. I haven't actually fixed anything yet, and we're already on the first weekend of March, so you know, I've got to do that. But yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm excited to take some time to just have those knits that are finished objects but that just don't get a lot of wear, show them a little bit of love and actually wear them. If you're participating in that, I would love to know in the comments, and you can still join the group chat that we've got going on. We've got a Discord server set up, so it will be linked in the description box below, and I hope you join. Definitely let me know your thoughts on the zipper for the zipper sweater light man. And yeah, I'm excited to share with you any updates in the next 2 weeks. I'll be seeing you then. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!